Hello everyone, it's Paulo here from Nova Network, and tonight I'm here with you guys to announce some upcoming features that we'll be launching on Fusion. I decided to change the format just to see, how the community reacts to a video announcement as opposite to a text announcement, which we are kind of used to do. I think it's a good way for us to interact on a slightly different way. I've been getting feedback from some people saying that they would like to see more of this sort of voice and video interactions, and well, here I am. So we've been working quite a lot on Fusion recently. It's been probably the platform that we have focused the most, second to our own native network. So we've been doing quite a lot of work, and we have actually finished some of the stuff that we've been working on. If you're tracking along, you saw that in the past few weeks we have actually deployed quite a lot of features already. The ones that I would say were the main ones were the core staking protocol and the bond staking protocol. If you don't know how they work, I strongly suggest just coming to the website, have a look around. I've tried to make it as easy and clear as possible. So if you come in, you see clear descriptions of how it works, and you will receive clear instructions on every step of the way for you to be able to use it relatively easy. So going to what matters, just to be clear, this is not a live version of Fusion. This is running on my local machine and it's not deployed. So if you see some of the stuff a little bit different from the live side, that's why. We have made a decision, which is actually we changed the way that we viewed the deployment of nUSD, which is, if you don't know as well, it's our stablecoin in our native network in other chains, and that came with a lot of reflection and a lot of study and research on how really we could make it in a way that we would be safe and it would also promote growth of our own protocol. Stable coins are not the business that we want to be in particular, but all in all, it's a very important piece of infrastructure that can really bootstrap development and a lot of use cases to the platforms that we already have. So in that sense, being such an important tool, we thought that in the end it was definitely worth it, and that as long as we did it the right way, that would be fine. So with that said, we are bringing nUSD to Fantom. We are doing it through a protocol that is very different from what most people are used to when it comes to stablecoins, and I'll explain to you in just a second. So it will be placed right here. So funds management and manage nUSD. For now, we will be available only on Fantom. Because of course on our native network the stable process and mechanism works a little bit different, but on Fantom it will work. The platform and the UI itself is very simple, and it will work pretty much as any other stablecoin minting protocol out there, and the secret is actually what's behind it, and I'll explain to you in just a second. But the TLDR of it is that to mint nUSD, you would have to deposit USDC. That's the token that we have chosen to be our collateral outside Nova Network for a few reasons. One, and I think probably the most important one, is that it is the most transparent stablecoin out there at the moment. And there are people that don't like it because they say it's centralized, which it indeed is. It's owned by Circle, and it is a centralized protocol. But at the same time, that's exactly the problem that we kind of solve with the nUSD implementation as a whole, because you'll be able to still use a token or a stable coin that you know that it's 100% backed and it's regularly audited and all the records are transparent and it is very compliant. And you kind of break through that sort of centralization aspect of it, because nUSD itself isn't centralized at all. It is completely decentralized. The contract is not owned by anyone in a way that we cannot mint nUSD out of thin air. The mechanism works in such a way that it only mints if it receives a collateral deposit. So you will break through that centralization aspect with nUSD, and you will still be able to claim back your USDC at any given time. The UI itself is very clean, very simple. You just type in the amount of USDC that you want to deposit. Pardon. And it will mirror the exact same amount on the other side as nUSD. This doesn't change, and it's not determined by a protocol. It's hard-coded, and the code is open source if anyone wants to check it out. So it works more so as a wrapping protocol. So it will only mint an nUSD if you deposit a USDC, and this is hard-coded. That actually allows for seamless liquidity at all times. So it doesn't really matter what happens elsewhere in the open market. For example, if nUSD for any given reason decides to trade below or over the peg, the only real consequence of that would be that it would create arbitrage opportunities for traders and absolutely nothing else. That is because the liquidity is always at a 1-to-1 ratio, hard-coded into the contract, and backed by USDC. So of course we run the USDC risk by extent. So if USDC depegs, for example, then we would be automatically depegging too, at least on the collateral side of things. But as long as that doesn't happen, nUSDC will work pretty much as a mirror token of nUSD will work pretty much as a mirror token of USDC in EVMs outside Nova Network. So the way it works is that you just input the amount of USDC you want to deposit, click on mint, confirm the transaction, and it will mint out the equivalent amount of nUSD. And if you want to claim it back, use your nUSD to claim your USDC. I'm sorry for that. You just do it the other way around. So you flip the tokens and just claim back the USDC. The smart contract can be audited, and it is public. So you go to FTM scan, in case we're dealing with Fantom here. So you can click, you can check this smart contract, and all the liquidity backing the tokens in circulation, it will be held by the smart contract itself. So if you see here, we have 10 cents worth of liquidity or collateral deposited into the smart contract, which means that we necessarily will have 10 cents worth of nUSD in circulation. So that dynamic supply is controlled by this sort of deposit and withdraw functions. And if any developers out there, just feel free to look through. The code is all open source and publicly available. So the contract is verified, so you can just check it out by yourself. But the way it works is, we've made it with care, and we took all the precautions to avoid reentrancy, and we believe we have quite a strong protocol in our hands, and in some ways will kind of open up a whole new range of possibilities for us developing on other chains as well. So that's one of the news. This is actually the little bit that is already done. So the contract have been completely finished. We have deployed it on the mainnet, put into production. It worked simply fine, behaved as expected, and this one is really just in the oven, ready to be deployed. And moving on, the other actually two big announcements and the two big changes that we're going to make to the protocol, or to additions, I must say, not changes, will be a financial NFT protocol called Liquid Staking, and yet another staking protocol called Income Staking. It might sound that we are actually getting too excited about staking, but it's more so about offering people options. So we have different flavors of risk, or different flavors of yields, and different flavors of lockup periods and so on for different people. And we think that these two will come to add quite a lot of value to the ones that we already have in place there. So right now we have the yield farming, which is just your regular token farming protocol. We have the core staking, which, if you don't know, just feel free to get into the protocol itself. There's clear instructions on how to use it and how it works. But in short, it's just a regular staking protocol where you can deposit your tokens and receive interest payments on that. And in the case of the core staking, the interest actually starts rolling after 7 days of deposit. So if you withdraw it beforehand, you won't get any interest payments. We have the bond staking, which is something that we have created, and I'm pretty sure that at least with the same sort of code and the same smart contract, you won't find anywhere else. Well, because we've written this one. And the way it works is that you deposit your SNT, get a set amount of interest paid to you after a certain period of time, and during that period you don't have access to your funds, nor the principal nor the interest. So it's fully locked for the whole period, and we have pools ranging from 1 week all the way to 5 years or 16 months. Liquid staking, that is what we are working right now, is a financial NFTs protocol that will allow quite a lot of different interactions between users on the secondary market, because the way it works similarly to a bond staking, but instead of your funds being entirely locked, you will actually receive a financial NFT upon deposit, and that financial NFT will hold all the information about your deposit, and a key for you to be able to withdraw your funds after the maturity date. So the way it works is that NFT can be traded freely on the open market. So you can trade it on Opera House, say, or any other NFT marketplaces for that matter. And the interesting thing about it is that it kind of creates this sort of cornerstone for a whole futures market, but decentralized. Because in the end, you will, for example, make a deposit on a 3-month pool. So you will only be able to have access to your SNT after 3 months. And if you're selling that NFT now, whoever is buying it is buying it for the price that SNT will be at the time of the withdrawal. So that will actually come into play when it comes to how much that NFT would sell for. And of course, on top of that, you still have the interest factor that needs to be added in. Because of course, the longer the maturity date, the greater the interest that will be paid. So that creates this whole different dynamic, which is very similar to how a futures market work. And it will be very interesting for us to see how the public receives it, how much interest will be for using the protocol, and how these NFTs will be used. Because the way it works, after you receive this NFT, after you make your deposit, you will receive the NFT. This NFT can be just freely traded. So we will have all the information required for you to withdraw your tokens, and whoever owns that NFT at the time of the withdrawal will be the one that will be receiving the SNT. So it will be interesting. We are very excited. and yeah, so it's under development. I will bring more news on the state of the development probably in the next couple of days or so. But all in all, we want to launch it as soon as it's ready and tested. And last but not least, we will have another staking protocol that we called income staking. And yet again, it will be similar to the bond staking protocol, but instead of having the whole of your principal plus interest locked up until the maturity date, with income staking, we will have longer period pools, and we will allow users to claim their interest rate payments as they go. So let's say if you choose to lock your SNT for 2 years, during this whole period you will not be able to draw your principal, but you will be able to withdraw your interest. The interest will accrue real time, so there won't be any sort of weekly or monthly payments whatsoever. There will be just real time, and you can claim anytime you want, really. So the difference, of course, is if you decide to claim once a day, for example, will be the amount of gas fees that you'll be paying the protocol. But all in all, people will be free to just claim their interest payments as they go, creating a very interesting income stream for the long run. And again, it's about creating different flavors for different sort of risk appetites and different clients out there. And yeah, so that actually wraps it up. We are very excited with all the news. There was actually a lot done in some other fronts as well, mostly with the development of our own native network. We got quite a lot of progress, quite a lot of changes, and recently announced the client nodes update, which if you haven't checked out yet, it's definitely worth it because it's a huge milestone in our development roadmap. And I don't know if how this video will be received as far as engagement and everything, but if it's something that really creates a community engagement, I can definitely do it more and do it more often. I know that this face-to-face, although virtually, but this sort of face-to-face interaction is very important for the community and for some users, and I'm really keen and really willing to do it. So if you like the video, just like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and just follow us on our social media platforms, mostly Discord. That's where we are the most active, but we are also quite there with Twitter. We have Telegram, Medium, and quite a lot of other links that I'll be posting down below, so you can just follow us and keep yourself up to date. So that will be it for now, folks. I hope you liked it. I hope it wasn't too long. If it was, please just give me your feedback. I'll try to adjust as we go. And yeah, see you on the next one.